And people still don't understand what we're talking about. They don't seem to get it.
What were we talking about?
We were talking about the amount of energy required to create the electricity that then has to be transported without being dissipated to get into an electric car. Not that electric cars listen, they have no emissions. I know that. They're very efficient. I know that.
Right.
But somebody created the electricity that you're putting into the car. Now, I also know if you could put a fucking minefield of solar panels in your backyard, if you can afford that, sure, that's a perfect way to
look. You're not. People have to make the batteries and dispose of the batteries
as well
too, at some
that's
point.
Right.
Yes,
but
listen,
the point we were
there's
making
no free lunches in transportation.
Right. The point we were making was that currently the predominant means of creating electricity is coal, and the carbon footprint left behind and the amount of energy required makes the electric car kind of a weird push. You know what I mean? Like it probably is leaving. I've seen many a book called The Quest. I would recommend to people. It's a yellow cover. Read The Quest if you understand some of these things. I think another one called Perfect Power is another good one that describes the problems we have with electricity and then delivering electricity in a smart way without it being dissipated. We spend more energy creating electricity than the efficiency of a combustion engine. It's just the way it is. It's just the fact.
Right. But
and
here's
it's not
the
a good
argument.
thing. It's a bad thing. It's a terrible thing. We need to do better with it.
Wow. Passion.
Because
Let me say this.
Tired
I'm tired of two people, please. Let me tell you this. What the argument would be from the other side, and I don't necessarily blame them or think it's spurious. No. What I'm saying is, all right, I'll make the argument.
Yeah.
Look, bucko, we must go through this phase like a business where you lose money for the first few years in order to start turning a profit.
Right.
How are we ever going to get to that point, battery technology and so forth,
but would you,
without these kinds of lost leaders?
Right. Now, would you agree
that
that part of that is us creating the demand for these things by buying the electric cars?
Sure.
So it's a good thing to buy an electric car. I'm not saying I think it's a very good thing.
Those Teslas, depending on what neighborhood you're in, have replaced all the BMW 7 Series and the Audi 8 Series. It's the stature car.
The status car.
The status car of a nice neighborhood.
And it's making a statement, too. It's saying, I'm supporting I'm saying something. Now,
the thing that's always been weird is I've always just said build nuclear power plants and have everyone get electric cars. And then everyone freaks out.
How dare you? What did you? 3 Mile Island, Fukushima. Right.
No bodies. Show me the bodies. There's no bodies. I can show you the coal bodies, but I can't show you the nuclear bodies.
The waste. We're gonna use up the Earth's mantle.
They transport those things on trains where they literally
terrorists will explode them.
Right.
Dirty.
I know there's a lot of that talk, except for it has never happened. I've never seen a country. We have to be the world's leading bellyachers of shit that has never yet to happen.
San Onofre.
There's nothing going on at San Onofre.
You know what I love about that is they closed it down, and guess what happened to everyone's energy bills?
Yes,
they went through the roof, and people they're literally going saying you can't do this. What do you mean you can't? That's what you did.
What I'm saying. Here's what I'm saying.
What are you
Drew.
saying? What are you saying?
I'm saying is this. Here's the way our country's wired, and I'm not sure why.
Right.
Thousands of people die in coal mines worldwide every year, and probably hundreds in the United States. Yeah. But certainly for a group that is obsessed with secondhand smoke, secondhand black lung, I mean, what would you rather your children be exposed to? Somebody who smoked at a bar they were in, or somebody went to work in a coal mine? Bar. I mean, have one of your kids go to work at a coal mine. Yeah. We're talking about what happens to your lungs working in a coal mine. So not only do you have the people who die with the tunnel collapse, you have the people who die when they're 51 and have had a hack since they were 35.
Raping this landscape and then...
Well, whatever. I'm just talking about just pure bodies in danger. The guys
people don't really care about that.
Well, here's the thing. It's like this. It's especially if you come from L.A. nonstop gun talk, gun safety talk, secondhand smoke talk. Meanwhile, I'll guarantee you that all the people that are talking about secondhand smoke and their 4-year-olds being exposed to secondhand smoke and their 4-year-olds being in a house where there's a gun present and so on and so forth, I'll guarantee that house is a swimming pool with a gate that's unlatched. And statistically, it's not twice as likely in terms of that's the way their kid's going to die, right? Secondhand smoke or gunplay. It's 20 times, 50 times. Why not focus statistically? Now, hold on. Let me say this, Drew.
That's not just this country. That's how humans are wired.
That's how chicks are wired. But what's going on? No. Listen to me, Drew.
I'm listening.
I wrote a little tome called In 50 Years We'll All Be Chicks. That was about 4 years ago.
Wasn't that a homage to me?
It started off as an homage to you, but the point is when I said in 50 years we'll all be chicks 4 or 5 years ago, I didn't know how prophetic it was.
You know how fast those 50 years would go by.
I didn't know they were going to go by in 9 years. No, I want you to dig. Dig. Here's the deal. Guys are wired statistically quiet.
Objectively, you mean? A little more objectively.
Yeah. We want to look. Somebody says, how many bodies is it going to take Normandy? How many bodies is it going to take to build the Golden Gate Bridge? How many bodies is it going to take to finish the subway system in New York? And then the chicks chime in, well, one body is one body too many.
Yeah.
And then the guy says, shh, get back in the kitchen.
Jesus.
We got to talk about body counts.
Oh, my God.
We got a war to win. I know you say one body's one body too many, but I got a fucking bridge to build.
Yeah.
I got a war. We got a bunch of Nazis. We got to fucking invade that beach. The door's going to drop on that Higgins craft, and a lot of guys are going to buy it.
Well,
now,
here's
quiet.
how it's wired.
Let me finish.
Yep.
Let me finish my thought. How many bodies is it going to take? Now, okay. Chicks, no bodies. One body, too many.
Yep.
Okay. That's the way we're basically wired. Now, it was fine because there was a separation. And what the guys did is they said, fine, Rosie the Riveter, you stay stateside and you help put together B-17s. We'll go over to Normandy, jump on the Higgins craft, and we'll get slaughtered. We'll build the Golden Gate Bridge, and 7 of us will fall into the fucking bay and die during the course of it. We'll do the sand hogging, and we'll build the New York subway system, and there'll be 50 guys dead. We'll do that. You guys put together the shit back at the plant. Fine. We did that, and that was fine. Now, there's no separation. You have a bunch of dudes that are now becoming wired like women and saying one body's too many. And losing sight statistically of what really counts, thinking with their heart.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying is, look, there's nothing wrong with thinking with your heart. It's great for many of life's endeavors. It's not good for taking over the beach in Normandy when the Nazis have the pillboxes and the 50 caliber machine gun set up. That's no good. Mm-hmm. Not good for that.
Yeah.
It's good for other things.
Yeah. I agree.
Now, we've decided to blend ourselves into the same group, and we got a bunch of dudes talking about secondhand smoke and about guns in houses and school-to-prison pipelines, and now we're fucked. Because there's no more analytical thinking going on. There's a lot of analytical feeling going on, and that's not going to solve any problems.
Yeah.
The problem is this. Do you like nuclear? No. Do you like coal? No. Okay, we don't like either one. We both wish that magically the cars and the lamps and the blenders and the toaster ovens and the microwave could just be powered by some pixie dust that didn't come from anything. It just came from manna from heaven.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, that's off the table.
What?
That doesn't exist. Now,
you're not thinking creatively.
The point is we got a bunch of fucking Nazis on Normandy, and we have to go and take them out. Now, we can help our cause by making a bunch of fake base camps over here and not letting them know when we're going to land or where we're going to land, and we can strategically try to work it out the best way. I mean, literally with inflatable tanks set up so it looks like we're going to plan some sort of land-based attack from another blah, blah, blah. We can do all that. There's still going to be a lot of people that are going to die. We're going to try to lessen it.
Now what we do is we go, who are you to say Nazis are wrong? Who are you? Let them be. They want a little bit of
right.
They've been dealing with this for many years.
Right.
Why do we have to get involved with this?
So the problem is trying to solve problems with feelings is not good. Raising kids with feelings, fine.
Yeah.
Doing many other endeavors with feelings, fine. Listening to music, creating music, painting with feelings, fine. Solving problems like energy problems with feelings, like I just don't like nuclear. You know, you say to people, okay, you don't like nuclear. You want holes in the ground with people? I don't know. I just want it fixed.
Yeah.
It doesn't fix anything.
I think it was Stalin that said, 5 people die in a fire. It's a tragedy. 1,000 die in a war. It's an incident.
Right.
It's, 5 deaths, tragedy. 3,000 gone, incident.
Right.
And that's kind of how we're wired, all of us, to be fair.
No,
I mean, that's
and not me. I mean, in the sense that I don't have a dog in the nuclear power plant fight or the coal-fired
think about it
plant
this way.
fight. I don't have any interest in anything.
You just want it to be efficiently and done.
Right, and then people say, well, obviously you don't care about safety. Oh, no, I do. I have kids. Yeah. I've looked at the data. It's basically no deaths versus a lot of deaths.
What if you had a coal-powered car? There are those out there now. That people see that and they're like, oh. But isn't that the same thing as the electric powered car?
Well, it's just removing the middleman
and the delivery system, which dissipates the energy that the coal creates.
Well, look, either way, everything has become politicized. For me, it's pragmaticized.
I'm telling you, go get the book, The Quest or Perfect Power. Those 2 books. The Quest is your first reading assignment.
Well, grab President Me if you really want to know how things should be run in this country.
Get the Quest and really learn how the power thing, how the oil and power thing is played out through history and what the issues are. Because otherwise, you're talking from a place of ignorance.
Well, it's funny. I was listening to the radio this morning. Our good friend Dennis Prager. He was interviewing a guy talking about the European Union, and he was saying, well, what's going on with Russia? And he said, well, you're not going to get Germany to step up and do anything with Russia because they're getting a lot of their power.
The oil, yeah.
Or oil from Russia.
I like all of it.
Whereas France is nuclear.
Yeah.
So funny so they don't rely on Russia. And you're like, oh, that's nice. And then you go, oh, yeah. It's insane that for the people in this country that do a little more feeling than thinking, France is their Valhalla. France is where they go.
Except they have nuclear energy. That's where they fall off the wagon. That's where they're out.
But what I'm saying is your beloved France, the benchmark for all cultures and civilizations and the people that are in the vanguard of, well, there should be 13 weeks vacation every year, holiday, and if a woman is pregnant, she should get 2 years off paid, and every worker should work a 21-hour work week, and all people should sit all day and just drink Pinot Grigio, and all the stuff that you're down with. Except for one thing. They're energy independent because of their nuclear power plants. How do you adjust your thinking for that? How do you factor that in?
Well, they can be mostly good. They have some fallible judgments in certain areas.
I think it's working out pretty good for them over there. Because when shit like Russia starts going off the rails, they don't have to...
And by the way, where do they put their nuclear waste? They have no land. Where are they taking it?
Catacombs.
Huh?
The catacombs.
Seriously?
No, you fucking idiot.
What are you talking about?
You know where the catacombs are?
In Rome.
No. They're in France.
I only know the catacombs in Rome.
What the hell? This is one of these situations where you're too smart for your own good.
Tell me.
You've never seen the catacomb? I've walked through the catacombs in France.
In Paris. Well,
in Paris,
I know that during one of the something, they had to take everybody up and put them in the basement of a church, basically, and they have all these bones down there. But I thought that was a very isolated little area. It's a big thing.
No, Drew, it's called a joke, jack off. I'm making a joke. Where do you put all the nuclear at a tourist destination that's buried underneath Paris? I make jokes.
that you have these attorneys biting your ass.
Win-win. Anything you do, anything you buy, school supplies, whatever, radar detectors, whatever, you don't have to give us money. Just bookmark us at Amazon, and it'll go toward fighting the patent trolls, and I can stay home and be sane on the weekend. By the way, started doing Catch a Contractor, so I do a lot of weekend shooting on Catch a Contractor, number one. But number two, I started finding out, like, am I going anywhere this weekend? I'm like, no. And I'd be like,
yeah.
And all of a sudden it changed.
I told you. Yeah.
I know, and I believed you. Yeah. I wanted to do it. It's just the price of doing business. It's made the week a lot more enjoyable.
Makes your work enjoyable. Your family, everything starts to fall into place. Yeah.
Well, that's why light at the end of the tunnel is important for everybody. That's why you go to school and then you graduate, or you go to prison and then you get put on parole. But either way, when the weekend starts looking like more work than the weekdays, it starts screwing with you.
What screws with you is where, right, no end in sight. One thing just rolls into the next, and you're like, oh, that's where dread comes in.
Right, and then the problem is it starts putting a spotlight on it. It starts putting pressure. Your psychological self is not unlike your physical self. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
Preemptive sniff. No, people say, how did you throw your back out? And you go, well, I fucked up my right knee. And they go, what the fuck does that have to do with your back? Your knee's fucked up. Well, I started putting more pressure on my left side, and I started walking in a way that was taking some of the pressure off of my right knee, and I fucked up my lower back. It has a way of moving up down the chain a little bit. Yeah. And for me, when I start working every weekend, then I come home and the lights are on and the air conditioner's blowing and nobody's in the house. And then I'm like, what the fuck am I killing myself on the weekend for? So you guys can burn kilowatts?
But isn't that interesting how it all rolls downhill? All that shit.
Yeah. And I'm right in that you should shut the air and the lights before you leave the house anyway, but I'm not pissed about it like I am when I'm tired. And then it's like, look, I'm going out this weekend for the sole purpose of making money, and you guys are burning it while I'm on the road.
I totally get that.
Thank you.
Totally get that.
And so it makes for a much more mellow Adam around the house.
Yeah, it's good. Everybody's happy. You're happy.
All right. Questions? I'm, like I said, much more interested in being satisfied than happy.
Well, I would argue
this isn't a direct answer to what you just said.
No, I understand that. I absolutely get that. And you just opened a door to a big topic that we could talk about for the next couple of months.
Please.
Which is, in this country particularly, we don't even fucking know what happy means. We have happy has meant for the last 40 years or so euphoria.
Yeah.
And euphoria, we're partying, we're doing drugs, we're having sex with these euphoric,
getting
intense
a jacuzzi
experiences.
with a glass of champagne.
Right. That is a extremely transient sort of has nothing to do with happiness.
No. It is not. Look, it is the worst thing you can do is go out to a top-tier steakhouse every night for dinner.
Right.
Because it then means nothing. Those times when you go out and celebrate a few times a year or get some friends together and go out to a dinner, or you and I should get the wives and go out to dinner, and we should do it this weekend. I don't know if you're around, but the point is when those events happen, Drew and our wives, we go out and have a dinner, and we go out and do it maybe 2 or 3 times a year. I really look forward to that.
Yeah.
If we did it 5 times a week, it'd just become a Wednesday or a Friday night. You know, that delayed gratification, the reason my weekend Saturday night at a steakhouse with you and your wife and me and my wife feels so good is because the weekend before I was doing 2 shows at a honky tonk in Long Beach.
Right.
That's why it feels good.
So it marks things. You can get used to things very quickly. That are people get used to really bad things. They get used to very good things very readily. That doesn't lead to happiness.
I think the cruelest joke you can play on. I said to my kids yesterday, I was staring, and I'm guilty of it too. I was in the backyard. The kids were frolicking in the pool. They pull this shit during the summer vacation. It's like, we got nothing going on today, Pops. Like, I don't know what your plan is, but we should be going to some castle that's lined with trampolines. I don't know what the fuck you think we're doing here. And I go, are you kidding me? You have a basketball hoop and a swimming pool and a huge yard and scooters and bicycles. Go out there and fucking make and be, And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, I said to Natalia, I was throwing her in the pool. We're sitting outside. I'm looking over at the fucking air hockey table that they got for Christmas. Not professional grade, but, the kind.
Nice one, yeah.
Well, just the kind you get for kids, it's $118, or it's not the kind you'd have in an amusement park,
right.
I'm looking at it. It's sitting outside now. It's fucking covered with leaves and shit. I mean, it's fucking falling apart. I said, you've used that thing 3 times, that Christmas Day, and then for 20 minutes the day after Christmas Day, and now it's fucking sitting out by the garage. Like, it's going to get the shit kicked out of it in the sun or whatever. Eventually it'll fall apart. We'll just drag it to the curb.
Yeah.
I said, by the way, I paid $31 per air hockey game. That's what we've averaged with that thing. I said, Natalia, what's the plan with that air hockey? Are you ever going to play it again? She said, that's for special occasions. I said, like what? I said, when? When are we going to, like, for what? And she said, when friends come over, stuff like that. I said, what do you mean? It's sitting in the backyard, like literally under a tree. Like an old bicycle that's just rusting out.
Yeah, behind the garage. Yeah.
It's not 3 Christmases old. Yeah. This is this Christmas. It got played 3 times.
But the point is made that you get used to things, whatever really good, or you get used to living next to the gas meter in the fucking closet like you did. You get used to it.
Not next to it. Yeah.
But that doesn't determine happiness. So
no.
So as opposed to, you said, us going out to dinner for certain events is a good, nourishing thing, but also having quiet family dinners every night. Very nourishing.
Yes.
Not euphoric, very nourishing. So people, they get confused about euphorogenic things versus things that are nourishing. Things that are, as your word you use, satisfying.
Well, the
things
impulse,
that are satisfying are nourishing. They build something in you that has a sustenance.
It's a constant striving toward feeding. And I'll screw this metaphor up a little bit, but there's a constant little deprived 8-year-old inside of us saying, please feed me, please entertain me, please do.
You and I,
please take care of me.
Because ours weren't dealt with so well.
Please take care of me.
But a big dose of that.
No, but I mean, what I'm saying is there's a little.
Gary doesn't have that so much.
There's a little. Well, he was collecting art and eating at steakhouses when he was 14.
Every 12 months. Every 6 months.
What I'm saying is this. There's a little person inside of all of us, with Max Patt's a tiny person. He's already little. But that little person is saying, hey.
Mini Pata.
Yeah, no.
Mini Max Pata.
No, that little.
I'll take Chris.
That little person says, you deserve a Coke, not a Diet Coke. Have a Coke.
Yeah.
It tastes so much better. You deserve that. You deserve this. It feels good. You should go, you know what? Go take in a matinee. Put your feet up. Get some air conditioning. You deserve, you know what I mean? It's like that little person. Yeah. And it's a weird thing. And so if you give in to that little thing that wants to
be gratified,
yeah.
See, gratification is different
avoid
than
the tough,
satisfying.
avoid the tough stuff, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
You're going to be playing a horrible trick on yourself.
That's right. So that the adult person has to kick in and to choose what's more gratifying than more more satisfying than what's gratifying. We delay gratification in order to gain satisfaction.
But once you realize that like I said, the satisfying part is much more nourishing than the fun part.
Yeah.
Meaning that the steamed vegetables actually taste better when done correctly than cotton candy.
Yeah.
Then you start going, well, fuck that. I'm not interested in that.
Right.
I'm interested in this.
Okay, then,
yes.
So that's satisfying and nourishing. Then the higher order conversation is one that we never have anymore. You and I talk around it, but we've talked explicitly about it here and there. But then what ultimately becomes the pursuit, just the way the vegetables becomes the pursuit of a healthy life, the pursuit of a satisfying, nourishing life should be a good life. And then we never talk about what makes a good life. A good life may not have a lot of woohoo happiness associated with it. It may be hard work. It may be leading a moral code that isn't so gratifying.
Right.
It may be delaying or even never going after gratifying things because you want your kids to have whatever. And we just don't talk about good lives anymore because good lives are all about the good life, which is money and women, whatever. You know what I mean?
Right.
We just lost.
No, it's a good point.
With the philosophical sense.
A good life got replaced by the good life.
That's exactly right.
Cigars and hookers.
That's right. The good life is not a good life at all. In fact, it's quite the opposite, typically.
No, it's funny. I have to force myself to stop and go play catch with my son and stuff like that, but then it feels so good when you're participating in it. Although, it's funny, just in a little micro version of what you're talking about. I had this thing yesterday where I said, I love going on a lunch run around here. Someone's going on a lunch run, let's eat. And I said to Matt, the porcelain Punisher Fondelier, yesterday, I said, I got this race thing coming up. I want to try to shed a couple pounds, get in a little better shape. So I said, I'm going to go get one of those Jamba juices, aerobics juice. I'm going to go get like the smoothie, not the bullshit smoothie, the carrot and kale and put a little protein powder in it and all that kind of stuff. And so I said, go online and find me this place. And actually tell Matt to do it because now it's driving me nuts. He goes, the closest juicer place, whatever's over there off of Alameda or whatever it is.
Oh, yeah.
And he said, he said, you know where the Pollo Loco is? And I go, yeah, I love that place. He said, yeah, it's right in that mall. It's right up in there.
Yeah.
And I said, okay. And I drove over there, and it's gone.
Oh.
And now I'm staring at the Pollo Loco.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I left with the best intentions, didn't I? I didn't.
You credit for that.
He said it was in the mall where the Pollo Loco was, or right around the Pollo, and I'm driving around the mall in the circle. And at a certain point, I left. And I was like, well, I don't know where I'm going now, because now I'm hungry. I've seen the Pollo Loco. And by the way, they're diabolical because they let the smell of the chicken skin just go right out the top of the place. Yeah. It's the siren song. So I was like, shit. Where is that fucking Jamba juice?
Did you tie yourself to the mast?
No. So I said, I'll go back into the mall, look again. I went and looked again.
It's Homer, everybody.
It's not there. It's not there. So now I'm like, all right, the Pollo Loco's not gone anywhere, but somehow the juice joint left. Maybe it's across the street. Maybe I wasn't listening. So I said, all right, I'm going in.
Uh-oh.
I'm going in. But I'll get a thigh and a breast. I won't eat the skin.
Right.
Much of the skin. Some sticks. What are you gonna do? I'll get a coleslaw. I know that's not the greatest, but it's not the mashed potatoes. And I'll get a small side of coleslaw, small side of beans. And I said, fine, I'll do it. And that's what I ended up doing. I struck a little bargain.
But you know what?
No tortillas.
I would argue, there's a question up there about certain kinds of diet. I would argue that eating consciously is all you really have to do to get yourself going. But you said you love lunch runs. You know what I love? Stamps.com.
Oh,
convenient, quick, easy. Stamps.com makes mailing shipping from your small business a breeze. Buy and print official U.S. postage with your own computer. Hand it to the mailman. Drop it in the mailbox. Nothing to learn. They give you the digital scale to calculate postage for any letter or package and helps you choose the absolute best class of mail. Like I use it here. We were early adopters at my household. We use it here at Carolla all the time. Use the code ADS for a special offer. It's a no-risk trial, $110 bonus offer, including a digital scale, and up to $55 of free postage. Go to Stamps.com, and before you do anything else, click the microphone at the top of the homepage. Type in ADS. That is Stamps.com. Enter ADS.
All right, question about low-carb diet.
Yeah.
Quick nicotine question, which I think is interesting, from Brian, 30, San Diego. Brian?
Oh, hey, guys.
Hey, now.
What's going on?
Hey, I love you guys. I saw you guys at the Redondo show a couple months back.
Oh, wow.
Thanks for coming. Question.
Yeah, so I was wondering, I know, Adam, you said you like to have a cigarette or two in the evening, and I was wondering, Dr. Drew, do you think that Adam might be going through like a very minor nicotine withdrawal throughout the day, and that might add to his irritable nature?
Well, it's possible, but the problem is that...
How dare you? Irritable nature.
No. Hang on. It would be possible if he weren't having full-blown alcohol withdrawal in the morning.
Oh.
You see? And so the nicotine withdrawal takes a far back seat for the alcohol withdrawal. I mean, his medicine at night, to sleep, Mangria medicine, and daytime withdrawal, I think you're onto something there.
You know what happened... I do have my cigarette or two in the evening. It's funny. I went out of town, and not out of town for work. I went out of town for vacation a few weeks back. I told you.
Yeah.
Just a nice, relaxing time with the family. Didn't go out at night onto the porch and have my cigarette.
Because you were not so stressed?
Literally just forgot about it.
Yeah.
Like just, went out that night, had dinner with everybody, went back home. Went to bed. This is not. It wasn't like, oh no, not in front of the kids. It was just like, nah.
Yeah.
It did not. It's weird that smoking, which is normally sort of progressive, for me has been a little regressive in that it's less now than it was 10 years ago. I used to want to sneak. Well, I'll put it to you this way.
Interesting.
If it was during the day, and I was in a stressful situation, and somebody said, I'm going to go have a smoke, I'd probably go out there with them.
Sure.
Or they're standing next to me. I'd
go,
seem
like
give
even
me
on
drag,
non-stressful days.
Give me drag off of that.
Yeah.
But not doesn't happen. It's only nights, and then, like I said, I went out for a few days and forgot about it. I wasn't white knuckling it. It was just I'd forgotten about it. Did not forget about the red wine, by the way.
Is this a new formula of Mangria coming soon?
Oh, yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah, you can go to CarollaDrinks.com. The new formula, which involves some reverse osmosis.
Sounds like some weird, like you're a mad scientist with a new formula.
No, we got a new manufacturer, new bottler guy, a new vintner, and he tasted the old stuff, and as an expert, sort of did we could do better. And I said, knock yourself out. And then I tried the new stuff, and it is unbelievably smooth, and it's just an I mean, normally when people do I could do better than that, they do about the same.
Yeah.
This is new and different. It tastes the same, but it has no kick.
Yeah.
You don't taste the kick. I'm
Great.
so
More
much
business for me.
Yeah. When the guy gave me the samples, I was like, this needs to be 21% alcohol.
Yeah,
this is what 8%, and I said no, it's 21%. Like literally couldn't taste it.
Yeesh.
Yeah, more business for you,
Aaron,
22, Colorado.
Hey, get it on.
Get it on, man.
Hey, I just wanted to say real quick, that Mangria stuff is the shit, man. I bust that up at our frat parties all the time.
Well, it's only going to get better, so thank you very much. But
no worries.
Wonderful.
I have a small question for you, Adam. It'll take like 2 seconds, and I have a bigger question for Drew.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I'll start with Drew, which is, What do you think about the ketogenic diet where you eat high fat and low carb?
You're asking me that or both of us that?
Drew that.
It's not exactly a healthy diet, but I am a fan.
Well, the people I know who have lost weight,
they lose
dramatically. Just cut out the pasta and the bread.
Right. Bottom line, eat lots of vegetables. Lots of vegetables. And yes, eat protein in addition to that. So there you go. There's the ketogenic diet. So in avoiding carbohydrates for many people is a way of managing their appetite and putting themselves into ketosis or catabolism. And you've got to be in catabolism to be losing weight. So, okay, but it's not a healthy, sustained way to go on living.
Drew, why were we so far off the mark?
By the way, I did a huge podcast. What was the one with the brain guy, Gary? When's that going up?
Andrew Hill?
Yeah. Was that his name? No. Was that his name? I can't remember his name right now. We did a whole podcast about the brain that's going up soon that to give you information about what to do to maintain brain health in the face of a diet like that. But go ahead. What have we done?
What is good for brain health in a diet like that?
Mixed chain, medium chain fatty acids and certain fats are
stuff
good.
You'd find in salmon or stuff you'd find in beef?
Omega fatty acids.
Well,
absolutely.
how is it that we were so far off the mark for so long and so recently? And again, hold on. On diet, meaning this is coming back to our full circle. It's coming full circle to what we started this podcast with, which is I grew up with a meat is bad, protein is basically bad. Anything that's protein is bad because it basically comes from an animal.
Well, and remember everything pasta.
Oh, that's all it was.
Of pasta.
Like whole grain and pasta. Don't have a steak for dinner. No. Have a huge thing of pasta.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, eat as much pasta as you like.
As you can.
It's
crazy. Remember the pasta bars.
And it's like
Ugh.
breakfast was a huge bowl of oatmeal with 2 pieces of unsprouted 8-grain wheat bread, 2 inches thick.
Now there's a school
Dinner
of thought
was
that you should be fasting all day and only eating after late in the evening and eat as you please, but just in the evening.
But all I'm saying is did we not have dietitians? Did we not have scientists? What was going on in 1977?
The podcast I'm talking about is with Dr. Andrew Hill. It's Be on the Dr. Drew podcast a week from Monday, and it's episode 135. It's because that's at drdrew.com. The science. Listen, the science of nutrition is so complicated. It's extremely complex, and people declare things way before there's adequate evidence.
But also, don't you kind of feel like there's politics sort of woven into it?
There's not politics. It's market economy.
No.
I'm going to make a name for myself.
In my mom's circles, if you ate a cow, you were a bad person. If you ate a pasta,
now there's the
you're
paleo
a good person.
Diet. The paleo diet's all meat now, but you have to
know. But the point is, what do they do in Europe? They don't eat cows. They don't have big steaks in Europe. They eat the pasta.
Because Europe's good. France, good. Except for nuclear power.
Right. So I'm saying there was a political sort of agenda, but the point is I then grew up just thinking, well, eat tons of whole grains. Eat tons of pasta. Be healthy.
I know that. Here's what's good. We have a generalized gut and a generalized dentition. We got to control our appetite. We got to control our calories. We need an adequate amount of protein. It's not as much as you might think, but you can go a little overboard if you want. It's not that big a deal. Animal fats, not so good, but certain fats are good. And lots of vegetables, lots of fruits and vegetables, lots and lots.
All right. But by the way, you say fruits and vegetables. To me, it's more vegetables.
Yes, it's
because
more vegetables.
People,
because you can overdo the fruits.
The nectarine tastes a little too good for a reason.
That's right.
Hey, Aaron.
Yeah.
All right. So it's balance. It's just balance.
That's right.
It's just exercise. It's movement. It's balance.
It's easy to get out of control with the way we have so much exercise.
But what I'm saying is stop thinking about it. Just start living it. Mm-hmm. You understand a slice of pie for breakfast is no bueno. Slice of pie at Thanksgiving is perfectly fine if you haven't been having the slices of pie for breakfast leading up to the Thanksgiving slice of pie. Mm-hmm. And then the following day, do a little road work. Balance. Okay. Balance is no fun, by the way. real fast. Joe, 23 Boulder.